Oops, sorry guys. Doing stuff by yourself. Yo, 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 no maniacs. What's good? Welcome to the show. This is Nomad Live, all bears all the time, man. Listen, I want to just really quick before we get into this show, I want to say a few things because, and I just want to say thank you to the people that really support the show, every subscriber, every member of the show. And like I said the last time, when I did the show by myself, it's new to me, but I love coming in here with you guys and saying thank you to everybody that supports what we do. Um, and I feel guilty about not putting out enough content. And so, like I said, all the time we don't have, the range to always have people on the show with me. So, but I'm not scared of shit. Now I will come out here and do shows for you guys anywhere, anytime. And I'm gonna make good on my promise and give you guys more content. You can count on that. When we have breaking news and different things like that, I'm gonna come and do shows. It's gonna be times when I have to take a day or two off because I got a life, but I'm just glad you guys are here and support everything that we do. So this extra content I'm giving you guys is just all out of love for you. But of course, I love doing it with you guys. So, man, I just want to, before we get going, I want to give a few shout outs to, let me see, the people I saw in the chat first. It was Naj. Shout out to Naj. He's watching the Washington game instead of being here, man. We got to rumble Naj up for that. He's choosing Washington Huskies over us. But I love Washington Husky football. So I respect that, Naj. And Plank's in there. Queen P, Patty Laura, Lula Shay. Hey, what's going on? I see Crimson in there. Let me see who else. Junior, Mitch Osborne. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. You know what? Today, what's weird making this thumbnail and coming up with this storyline is because you probably King Petty, if you're here and you're watching the show, probably King Booker World too. Some people get kind of get a little pissed at me, man, because it seems like I defend Flus a whole lot more than I should. I'm a big Flus supporter because I was coached by a guy that kind of reminds me of Flus, and the similarities are eerie sometimes watching him move around and the way he talks and carries himself. And it's easy for me to be, kind of supportive of him. And, I'm a glass half full kind of guy anyway. Y'all know that. But, it's a lot of criticism I kind of take on the chin and attribute it to a guy that's trying to find his way as a head coach. And, that kind of thing, I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel guilty for that. I'd do that again. But when I found out about this podcast that Zaire Franklin is a part of, it's called The Trenches. You guys should subscribe to that channel, man. It's some really good. If you like to hear a football player's perspective on what's going on around them, locker room stuff, all that kind of stuff that we talk about here all the time, that's definitely a show you want to pay attention to. So check those guys out. And so there's a video circulating the internet. A lot of Bears fans are sharing it. And I felt like this would be a good time to have a conversation with you guys about it. And I'm not going to show the full interview. I mean, it's 17 minutes worth of content. They were talking in and out about Flus and Flus's time there and their time in the linebacker room, him as a defensive coordinator, all that kind of thing. It's about 17 and a half minutes worth of content. But I was just like, all right, I'll throw the link in the description, which I did. You guys can watch the whole thing, 17 and a half minutes. But I think I have, thanks to Gregory Bell, shout out to Gregory Bell on Twitter. He broke it down to about six minutes and some change, back and forth that they had about Flus. It's mostly Zaire Franklin. But what was revealed was, and I'm saying this ahead of time, when we hired Flus, I went out of my way to make sure that I did due diligence on who he is, mostly what the players thought about him, their reflections on who he is as a coach, to have an understanding of who we were going to be dealing with when he got here. And so I felt really good about him coming here and what he would bring to the table. You couldn't really find anybody that said anything bad about Flus, but that's kind of the politics of football. But here it is, 3 years removed from Indy. Now this comes out with Zaire Franklin talking about the inner workings and to be honest with you, Matt Eberflus's integrity. I'm just gonna say this, man. It wasn't flattering, and I'll also say this. I might be pro Flus and pro, him. I'm gonna be supportive of him in the best way I can until I can't. Just like I was with Justin Fields. When the players talk, listen to me. When the players talk, I listen. I listen to what they have to say. I've watched several Zaire Franklin podcasts and the Trenches podcast, and I don't find Zaire Franklin to be an insincere individual at all. I found him to be 100. And the stuff that he said about Flus came off to me. Let's just say we're gonna do the interview. We're gonna watch that stuff here in a minute. But let's talk about some other stuff. We're gonna when we watch that tape, I'm gonna break some stuff down in a way that I think you guys can understand exactly what he's talking about, and you'll understand my perspective on it. But before we get into that, man, shout out to everybody that's following into the show. I see a bunch of people jumping in here. Scottish Bear, King Booker just popped up. Don is up in here. I'm going to get to as many comments as I can. Y'all keep them coming. I'm doing this by myself. So let me see. It's Crimson said, I like what he preached. He's talking about Flus, the idea of standards, the whole hits principle. I was into it, but that's not what he brought. You know what? It's going to be hard to argue that after listening to this, man, because it goes back to me, everything that Zaire said in this interview went right back to integrity. And without integrity, you're talking about a guy that you're asking to run through a goddamn brick wall for you. What do you have? You know what I mean? Without integrity, what do you have? These guys are, they get one body in this lifetime. These guys are putting their entire body. I know they get paid well, but you only get one body in this life. Facts. And so, integrity, it all goes back to integrity. All right, but before we get to that content, let's talk about some stuff. Some breaking news I heard all week. We were worried about whether or not we'd have Darnell Wright, and it sounds like Darnell Wright had at least a limited practice today. Let me think. Andrew Billings, I think, was a limited practice today, and I think I heard later on this evening by one of the reporters that he's going to be okay to play the game. So it sounds like we'll have those two, and plus Keenan. That's good. Those are three pivotal guys that we got to have come Sunday. Because let me tell you something. There's this video out here, and I don't mean to spook you guys, but there's a guy that does this all 22 video. It's a Rams breakdown. It's called, I'm going to write it right now. Excuse me, fellas and ladies and gentlemen. I'm writing it in the chat. Hold on. It's Alex and the NFL. It's Alex and the NFL. Searched all 22 Rams. I'm putting that in the chat right now. Search all 22 Rams. And what you'll see in that, it might spook you a little bit. And, and I've been saying all week long, it's a lot of people out here that really don't understand the game as well as they probably should, that think that this is going to be a walk. It's just going to be a cakewalk because the Rams are so injured and nicked up and they don't have key receivers and that kind of thing. That's all good. That's all good. But I'm telling you, when you get done looking at that all 22, and you'll realize this Matthew Stafford is a beast. But the way McVay really stresses out a defense, you will find that to stick out to you. You did the bunch formations and all that kind of stuff that he does, the motion, the pre-snap movement. I was watching it riding a bike today, and I was just like, man, McVay he's a mastermind of this West Coast offense, is what he is. And not only do you have to deal with Matthew Stafford, you have to deal with the scheme. You have to deal with the scheme. And I'm telling you guys, the scheme is in this guy's hands is outrageously good. Sean McVay is a genius with this West Coast scheme. And so not only are we up against it with having to deal with Matthew Stafford, that's known to dice up a defense, it's the fact that Sean McVay is an absolute genius with this stuff offensively. He is really, really good. And like I said, go back if you need to and scroll back up, Alex and the NFL. Go, just search that and search for Rams All 22, and you'll see exactly what I mean. I almost wanted to do it here, but I hate All 22. But I encourage you guys to check that out. But with that being said, let me see what else we need to be talking about. All right, let's just get right to the video, man. How about that? Give me a minute, guys, while I share my screen. Give me just a minute. Hopefully you guys can see it. Now, before I get going, you guys excuse the N-words and all that kind of stuff in there. That's just how dudes talk, when they're in a comfortable setting, man. So forgive me for all that, but we're gonna pause and talk in between the 6 minutes and 33 seconds. But here we go.
Shout out to my dog Sky Moore. Shout out to AT, Ahmad Thomas. Shout out to Malik, Jefferson. So it's there's a lot of people that a lot of mainstays that stuck around. Najee Good. A lot of the guys that mainstays stuck around that I literally competed with every nigga in the room.
Yeah.
And I told him straight up, I said, listen, when I lost. I lost a handful of them battles, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Bobby ass got drafted, caught a pick this nigga Jacoby was on his niggas, boy. I said Jacoby, niggas, OTAs, nigga. You know his, you don't see what the.
So what he's talking about right here during OTAs, that's a good time. Now, I ain't never did an NFL OTAs, but off-season training is the same in high school, college, but more comparable to college than it is anything else. In OTAs, man, you out there having competition. Who's going to get the most picks? Who's going to get this? Who's going to do that? Who's going to get to the quarterback faster? And all these kind of little competitions that you playing. And he's talking about how Jacoby Brissett was a quarterback at the time, and he's out there throwing Bobby Okereke picks, and he's in a competition with Bobby Okereke, who's going to get the most picks in OTAs or some shit like that. But you got to love the competitive spirit. But here we go.
Fuck we got going on over here? Nigga Bobby picking shit in OT. I'm damn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Me and Speed, Matt, I done lost before, bro. And I ain't taking no type of way. My issue came is when I won. And when I won, you ain't give me my victory. You always stepped on it. You always did something slick. You always went out your way to make sure that I didn't shine the way that I knew I could.
So right there, that's when he starts a conversation about Flus. He's saying that while they were out there doing that kind of stuff. Now, I've seen Flus's training camp and OTAs when he was at Indy. He's a big rah guy and making sure everybody. He's really praising people when they do something really good on the field. I mean, he turns it into a celebration. But what he's saying is dude, you just act like I didn't do shit out here, and you ain't giving me no kind of respect, no props. Where my flowers at? It's basically what he's saying right here. But that's that. Here we go.
Because you knew who I was. That's when my issue came. Me and him one-on-one. I told him this. I said, listen, that's my issue came. Oh, LZ, I don't really handle the substitutions. That's somebody else. And so you can't talk to me as a man.
Right now. Yeah.
We men.
Right now.
Yeah, you got a family, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not even that deep. I ain't got no ill will. I ain't going to rumble you in the office. You know me better than that.
Yeah.
Let's just have a conversation about what was really going on.
What really went on. Yeah. What went on. Yeah.
Let's just have that. Because at this point, we don't owe each other nothing.
Yeah.
Other than the truth. At least I thought. And then in that moment when he ain't even give me that, we never have anything to ever speak about again.
See, that right there. That's the key to this whole entire conversation. You lose a guy. Kenny, no, that ain't sour grapes, Kenny. That ain't sour grapes. That's him being honest about his interaction with his coach. That's not sour grapes at all, man. I know what that feels like, man. I had a coach like that. And he wasn't even my position coach. But I had a coach like that felt like, if you had a certain personality type that doesn't jibe well with your coach and the guys around you, everybody's not gonna like your vibe. I'll just say that. And what he's saying to me and the way I interpret it, and you guys can tell me how you think, I interpret it as no matter what I do well, this guy's going to have a turn up nose and, frowning at me all the time because, and you know what, to just to play devil's advocate for a second, and some coaches will do that shit to you just to see if they can turn you on a little bit more. Like, okay, that's going to drive him a little bit more and bring a little bit more out of him. Some coaches will do that, but that doesn't sound like what happened here. This shit here sounds personal to me. It's what it sounds like. It really does. It sounds personal. I wouldn't be bringing it to this level and talking to you guys about it if I didn't think that was the case. It sounds personal to me, but I'll let him continue to tell his story and we'll go from there.
Because not only did you not believe in me, nigga used to go out like, bro, I be trying to tell, because we got young boys on the team who feel like, my story is very publicized at this point. So we got young boys on the team who and I talk to people about it all the time, very openly, about my mistakes, because I wasn't perfect. It was a lot of shit I did that was crazy. You know what I mean? I was finger pointing a lot after that, New England game my rookie year, and it took a long time, to be honest with you. Similar to how the first 2 weeks played out, was for me to really sit down, watch the film, and be like, that is not good enough. Like, you could be mad about a bunch of shit, but at the end of the day, you got to play better. You feel me?
Yep.
True. So I talk to young boys a lot, and they always be like, oh, man, like, yeah, I feel like I'm in the same similar spot as you was in with main man, because woo. And I'm like, no, for sure, I understand your similarities, but the difference between, I just felt like what I was going through sometimes, and a couple of the situations.
I want to remind you guys, Flus got him right out of the draft. He came as a rookie, and they spent about 4 years together, 3 or 4 years, I think. And he's going to tell a part of this story where he's 30 minutes before a game, Darius Leonard is walking around in a boot, and Flus wasn't even good enough to come and let him know that he was going to be starting as a Mike, and he hadn't been playing that role for several weeks, and he didn't find out that he was going to go in and play Mike until 30 minutes before the game. That's some bullshit. Now, you can say what you want to say, but that's some straight up bullshit. But he'll tell that story a little bit later on.
That I'll be talking to the youngins about is, bro, I don't know how many of these coaches in our building, at least today, are like, I felt like actively trying to hold niggas. The nigga would not tell me shit. If I'm EJ backup and you telling the Sam backer a check, nigga, don't you think I need to know that?
Yeah.
He will go out his way not to tell me shit or to keep it from me. It'd be like.
So right there, and you guys, I'm just true transparency. I have to stop it, from here and there and talk a little bit over the video, just because if you want to not get a copyright strike, that's the YouTube hack to do it. And so this is just my way of making sure we don't get in no trouble on the channel. But this is a good part to stop. How are you going and telling, the guy what the next check is, and you're not telling the person behind him who needs to know exactly what the check? He needs to be fully informed and he needs to be in on all the information that's getting passed around, because he could be in on the next play. That's how fast things happen when you're playing football. Boom, next thing you know, that dude's out, and he's the one playing behind him. He needs to know everything that dude knows. So if you're telling him this is the next check for this is the next check for that, you got to tell Zaire too. Why are you withholding that information from him? It's character traits that we get into right here. But let me keep going.
Like, what type of weird shit is you on?
Why are you doing that? Why would you not want me to be prepared?
Nigga would get mad if I asked the question. Like in the room, like me asking an intelligent question was challenging his authority or something like that.
Yeah.
When I'm only asking the question that I know your superstar really want to ask, but you feel me? Yeah. I'm asking the question for the room. Like, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I thought I did a good job, because in my opinion, first of all, I ain't giving no people pod material off the pod, nigga. Like, of course I was going to address it here. Duh. I thought I did a good job, because in my opinion, first of all, I ain't giving no people.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring it back just a few ticks, just just to point out something, he's talking about when he was still a backup in Indy in the linebacker room. Darius Leonard was a starter at the role that he ended up ascending to once Darius Leonard left. Now he's in a position where, you know, Darius is kind of like Flus's superstar at that time, and he don't want to ruffle Flus's feathers. But Darius has questions, and Zaire knows it. Zaire knows it, and so he don't want to say what he want to say to Flus. So he kind of puts the jumping cables on Zaire to ask the questions that he needs to ask in the room, like, "Hey man, what's going on with this?" And Zaire does it, and it seems to me the way he's telling the story, like Flus knows that, like Flus knows it, and he's just like snarling at him, like, "You motherfucker, why don't you shut your mouth and let me do this thing?" And so I'm gonna rewind it a little bit more so you guys can hear that part again.
Superstar really want to ask, but he only ask. Him mad if I ask the question. Mad, tell me shit, or to keep it from me. It'd be like, what type of weird shit is you on?
Why
Like,
why are you doing that? Why would you not want me to be prepared?
nigga would get mad if I asked the question. Like in the room, like me asking a intelligent question was challenging his authority or something like that.
Yeah.
When I'm only asking the question that I know your superstar really want to ask, but you feel me? Yeah. I'm asking the question for the room. Like, you know what I'm saying? First of all, I thought I did a good job because in my opinion, I mean, first of all, I ain't giving no people pod material off the pod, nigga. Like, of course I was going to address it here. Duh. Fucking media. Get out of here. Scram. But I did.
He's talking about when they did their press spray and, you know, the media was trying to get probably some catch headlines because they was playing against Flus last week in his team, and they wanted to see. They probably know that Zaire's got some feelings towards Flus, and they tried to make sure that they pressed him a little bit to see if they can get some extra shit out of him. And he was just like, hell no. If I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna say it on my show.
It surprised me was like, you know, shout out to Laura. I don't get upset about really any question. I mean, somebody did say some real slick shit to me about the first 2 weeks. I'm gonna let that breathe, bro. I almost really turned up in the middle of the media scrum, and I'm like, you almost caught me, brother. You almost caught me.
Right there.
But yeah, shout out to Laura. I ain't feel no way about it because she was like, damn, I'm like, bro, like they was like, damn, how you feel about, you know, your old coach coming to town? I said, I ain't got no feelings about it. I thought that was me. I thought that was being respectful.
Yeah.
I ain't say
what you want me to do.
I ain't say it, you feel me?
I'm telling you guys, the funny thing about this interview and on this podcast is I tried my ass off to find some guys that had like anything by way of skepticism about Flus. I could not find it. And I wasn't trying to search out no negativity. You just want to try to see if you can get both sides of the coin. There's a lot of flattery, you know, there's a lot of people that you start to feel like, man, they really love the way this dude coach. And Flus brought some things out of some players in that building, especially on the defensive side, in that linebacker room in particular, that you know, he brought them up a level. You know what I mean? Really brought some animal out of them, and they played the game that way. And most of that stuff, I ain't gonna lie to you, I heard it from Darius Leonard. You know, and some of the other guys around there, like Matt Adams, and you'll hear them talk about Matt a little bit in here too. So just wanted to throw that out there.
I ain't wham. You feel me?
That's a fact.
I just said I ain't feel no way about it. And it's just, I ain't gonna hold you like the build up to the game, bro. And it was like really on some shit because I ain't gonna hold you. I really didn't understand how really still pissed off I was about that shit, bro. Like just about every single time, bro. I felt like every chance he got, bro, he pushed me back to the bottom, bro. Every chance, bro. Every time I was climbing up, the nigga pulled the ladder, bro. Every time I thought I had a rope, he cut the line. I had to start all over again, bro.
Anybody in the chat watching right now, feel free to tell me your exact feelings about this. Do you think this dude is being straight up, or you think he just bullshitting and he, like Kenny said, he got sour grapes? Let me know, yay or nay. Is he sour grapes or no? Because I don't think so, man. I think he's being 100 about how he felt about the dude, straight up.
Shout out to Bubba, bro, for really believing in me.
Facts.
Shout out to Bubba Von Tron, bro. He really is honestly one of the biggest influences in my career. Just because, and it wasn't because, and let me say this, me and Bubba, I got to shoot Bubba a text too. It's not because me and Bubba have a personal relationship.
Right.
Let's start there. But me and Bubba relationship started with Bubba, like, you know, I had fell out of favor with Flus. Shit, I'm feeling like I'm, you know, look, I'm very smart. I'm reading the walls and shit, feeling like I might be inactive soon if I don't get some shit going.
Yeah.
He's talking about Bubba Ventrone, very, very popular special teams coach out there.
Bubba, I need to get on kickoff. Can I get some extra kickoff? Because I was nice at kick return. So I was like, yo, look, can I get some extra kickoff reps, you know, on kickoff return day? No. I need you on kickoff return. Like, be better whenever you get the opportunity. I'm like, damn, nigga. Like, hey, man, nigga. But at the same time, I respected him for it, bro, so much because he was just straight up brutally honest with me about the situation.
Yeah,
like, no, you can't. Because I need you to do this. You can't get no extra. You want to do extra on your own time. You ain't doing extra on my time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was real.
Yeah.
And then from that point,
solid,
and then from that point, it was like, bet, cool. Like, that's somebody like, because like the reality situation, that's what another reason why I love Kato so much is because, bro, I ain't here for you to be cool. Like, yeah, I respect you and, you know, I care about you and you know what I mean? I know you care about me and all that, but we not really here for the personal relationships. We here to make each other better, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, brutal honesty is where all that's going to start, bro. Yeah. If you can't look me in the eye and tell me that I was playing like some bullshit.
And that's it. And that's it, man. Now I'm all right. So let me take this down. Let me unshare my screen. All right. Listen. We can sit here, you know, and I'm okay with everybody's point of view, man. Any and everybody's opinion on it. I'm good with it. All we here for is the discourse and the back and forth and just to see the dialogue is worth it to me. You know, what do you think as a Bears fan? I'm good with it. Whether you think he's being 100 or you think he's full of shit because he's upset about some shit that happened. I don't, it's neither here nor there with me. What I'm here to do is tell you from my perspective, man, I don't, when it comes to stuff like this, it's almost like I'm not seeing or hearing. I'm just reading what, you know, my instincts and what my instincts tell me is going on in this situation. I felt like overall, I think he felt like he was slighted by Flus and wasn't given the opportunities nor the flowers that he felt like he deserved. And it took until Flus left that place for him to get the just due to deserve. Because let me tell you something. Zaire Franklin is 100% top 5 linebackers in the league. Trust me when I tell you. Zaire Franklin is an absolute, he's a Megatron of linebackers. He's crazy good. And he just didn't like the vibe that obviously him as a person rubbed Flus the wrong way. That's just the vibe I got from the whole conversation. But I'm gonna read what some of you guys are telling me, and we're gonna just respond to that. All right, he's saying Kenny says he sounds like he says he sounds like someone that thinks the world is against him. I swear the teachers be hating on me. I hear you, man. Ordinarily, you would I would just say this. There are people in the world like that. That's exactly what Kenny is describing, you know, feeling all paranoid about stuff that ain't really going on. But then there's guys that's just being real and been biting their tongue for a while. And that's what this sounded like to me. He's just like, now I can kind of let loose. I got a podcast and I can speak my mind. That's really what it sounded like to me with respect to what you had to say, Kenny. All right. And the Scrolls is saying he was looking for podcast content. I can see people playing those angles too, but I really don't think so, man. I think Derek Carter said he thinks he was being 100. As Crimson said, probably embellishing like many do, but it's unlikely that it's an outright lie. He's saying there's probably a little bit of both going on. Minister Charles says he's being straight up. What does he gain from being bitter? That's how I feel about it. It's like you a star linebacker in NFL, just got your second contract, you paid. What do you got to lie about? You know, Scottish Bear thinks he's being honest. Let me see here. Yeah. So why did I bring this up again? Okay, Kenny, let me see what Kenny's saying to me. Kenny says, I respect your opinion, Nomad. Just coming out over 3 years later on in your podcast is weirdo behavior. Kenny, I want to. I wish I could agree with that, but I'd be lying to you if I told you I did. I just think he's a just like the. It's like this, Kenny. Like you go into, you probably notice this in your workplace, amongst your family, your friends. You got people that really, really, really vibe with you and kind of know what kind of individual you are. You might be a very outspoken person. You might be a very quiet person, whatever you are in your life. And, that vibe, really resonates well with some people, whatever that vibe is. And then there's some people, and it could be your goddamn coach, that it rubs the wrong way. That's what it seems like to me. He's just like, he knew he's just something about Zaire that just rubbed him the wrong way, and he treated him. That's what it sounds like to me, but that's just me. I'm going to keep reading the comments and see what everybody has to say. Eli MCG says, I thought Flus was a player's coach. This is the first guy that has said anything negative about him that I've seen. All right, let me read. I'm reading. Richard Long says, the Care Bear approach doesn't work with alpha males. Eberflus has a passive-aggressive approach that spares people's feelings at the expense of truth. I like that part. And the part that really, really irritated me is when he's sitting there one-on-one with him. He's sitting there one-on-one with him. And he asks, and the coach, he more or less asked him, hey, what was up with the substitution? How come I'm not being put in the game? And he's the defensive coordinator at the time. And Flus tells him, I'm not in charge of the substitutions. I'm like him. I'd have been done fucking with him after that. Even though he was my defensive coordinator, it wouldn't have been nothing personal going on between him. It'd be like, hey, man, tell me what I need to do. Am I starting, not starting? Let me know what my role is. When I get something wrong, correct me, coach me, do whatever. But after that, there's nothing personal going on between me and you. As men, you can't even fucking tell me the truth. All I asked you was, what happened to that? How come I didn't get subbed in and you couldn't tell me the truth? You passed the buck on to somebody else. That's all you asked for. Be honest with me. Don't bullshit me. Tell me the truth. That's why later on, when he was talking about Bubba Ventrone, telling him the truth right to his face, brutally honest, why he respected that. That's all he was saying in this podcast. It's like, I lost respect for him because of this. And so what it makes me do is think about some of the guys and some of the situations, for weeks we've been talking about, hey, where's Roshan Johnson? Where's Khalil Herbert? Why is he not getting used? Makes me even think why Mooney was feeling like sour grapes, why his attitude was so bad last year. It's always, listen, I'm going to tell you guys straight up, there's always about, I would just say about 90% of what really goes on behind the scenes we don't see. We get about 10% of that bullshit. Out here on the perimeter, we don't get all we need to see to really know the full story. And when you start thinking about stuff in retrospect, you wonder what happened. And see, that's the only reason I'm doing the podcast is to discuss that. Like, Flus may have some things that's questionable about how he goes about his job. It's not calling them bad coaches. It's like, hey, he's raised a question, and I'm here to talk about it. I am a podcaster. I think it's worth the conversation. So I just wanted to put it out there like that. I'm going to read a couple more comments before I move on to the next subject. Yes, it's communication and accountability, man. I'm not getting mad at anybody that disagrees with me, man. Y'all all part of this community, man. I love all you guys. And it doesn't matter if you disagree with me or not. That's irrelevant. We just here to talk about it. Let me see. Kenny saying, not on defense. He doesn't play favorites. I don't blame Flus for offensive personnel usage. See, now, Kenny, that's where we might need to have a whole other conversation, because he had his fingerprints were all over the offense last year because he felt like Luke Getsy wasn't doing the job the right way. And everybody that's watching this thing up close and personal kind of knew that. How much is his fingerprints on this offense? How much latitude is he giving Shane Waldron? I don't know. I don't really, be honest with you, I don't want And this is just me personally. I'm just me and my virtues. I would rather not see him in that room unless they offered him an invite to come in that room and say, hey, what do you think about this defensively? How do you think this works? Other than that, what are you doing in there? Let the guy coach. So I don't know what's going on with Shane Waldron, but I do know he was a heavy influence on Luke Getsy, who really didn't know what he was doing, which is true. Let me read a few more comments. Bernard Warner, Bears cannot coach. Listen, man. All right. How about this, man? Let's move on off this subject for a minute. Maybe we come back to it if people keep talking about it. But there was also a captain's only meeting that a lot of Bears players are talking about. A lot of podcasters are doing shows about it, and they're being really and panic was already setting in the fan base, and it's a lot of nervousness going on to begin with. And they heard about this meeting that how about this? I'll just take you back. Let me go back to Twitter. Let me go back to Twitter and pull it up right quick. So give me just a second. Just a second. I'm pulling up. Mercedes Lewis had a quote in the situation. I'm gonna pull it up. Let me find it. I'm finding it. Hang in there with me, y'all. Looking. Hold on. Let me go look at my homepage. I'll find it, guys. Just hold on. Just hang in there. Mercedes, I'm just going to read Mercedes Lewis's quote as soon as I find it. Let me see. All right, so here we go. I'm about to share my screen right quick. Give me a second. And I'm just going to read the whole quote. So this is Josh Schrock. I think he's NBC. By the way, NBC Sports Chicago kind of shook everything up and they kind of shut everything down. And I think those guys just did their last podcast not too long ago. I was talking to Glenn Morgan and he told me that. So shout out to everybody that was working at NBC Sports Chicago, man, that, you know, got to move around a little bit and find new opportunities, man. Shout out to everybody that was employed there. All right, here it is. Tight end Mercedes Lewis on what his message to OC Shane Waldron was during the meeting. He said, quote, I think mainly, just continue to be vocal about the things that he sees and don't feel like he can point out to guys basically, from the oldest guy in the room being me to the youngest guy. Don't feel like you can't coach us. I want to be coached. I want to be great. This is not, you know, this is not for play. This is our job. We understand that. It's a high stressful production based business, and we've all got to be doing the same things or everybody gets fired. Ego is supposed to be left out at the door. That's what it's about. He's very receptive to that. I think obviously coming in, we got a bunch of dudes, not just guys on the team or on the offense. We have dudes who have done it at a high level. Sometimes as a coach coming in, you might be walking on eggshells. I just kind of put that to bed. Nobody's sensitive in here. We need to win games just as bad as you do. It's a collaborative effort. It's not Pop Warner. We work together side by side to get things done. That's really what my message was. And so let me come back to the studio and talk about that. To me, is like I said, it's a lot of people up in arms about that. Like, holy shit, Shane Waldron, he's got to have a players only meeting already with just the captains. I think that might be probably the most pivotal thing that happened for the offense all year. Why do I say that? It's because anybody And I do have the fortune of playing on a team when I was in college that had a flipped everything. We had new coaches that came in. We had pretty much an entire new roster with some holdovers. So we had some really dope receivers that the offensive coordinator came in and inherited. And I can remember conversations, just around about the he was kind of walking on eggshells with some of those guys because he didn't want them to transfer. And I'm just like, well, damn, man, at some point, you gotta do what you gotta do. You the coach. And that's kind of what Mercedes is doing. He's saying, just because we're just veterans in here and we've been playing for a while and you don't want to rub nobody the wrong way, don't forget we have a job to do, man. You can't walk on eggshells. That's more or less what Mercedes was saying. And I think that's a good thing to say, because I think anybody that's in this show right now, is in this chat room, thumbs up or thumbs down, has he been using DJ Moore the right way? We'll start there. Has he been using DJ Moore the right way? Thumbs up or thumbs down? I'm going to give you a straight thumbs down. He has not been using DJ Moore the right way. And this was an opportunity for DJ to go in there and to thank you, Crimson. This was DJ's opportunity to go in there under the circumstances, and it's the most perfect setting for him to air out some of that stuff. Like, man, I like that you want to get me involved, but some of the stuff, how you calling it up, these screenplays and all this horizontal passing, that's not my game. I need to attack dudes down the field. So I think we're getting a no all the way across the board, thumbs down everywhere. And so that's why that meeting was important. What do you expect to come out of that is a different scheme and it's going to look different on his call sheet when he thinks about, okay, we need to get DJ involved. We need to get, let me see, Mercedes more involved. Because Caleb was in there, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, and Mercedes Lewis. I believe those were the guys in there. Might have been a player or two more in there, but those are the guys that I heard were in there. And so it was thumbs down all across the board. And so that's why I think it's pivotal that they had this meeting and they had this meeting now. You have to be transparent with your coach. It's like even as a freshman in college, I was able to go to my coach, my defensive coordinator, not my defensive backs coach. I was able to go to my coach because he kept an open door policy about how we were playing. And I told him, I was like, in order for this thing to really work, the base coverage, and that's zone play 4-3 cover 2, in order for it to work, you got to get more aggressive up front. And he just looked at me and he was like, "You think so?" He's like, "How so?" I was like, you gotta let the dogs eat. It's dogs on this defense, and just get them going downhill, and it just slows down how much time, it just kind of shortens how much time that we have to cover as corners and as safeties, how much we got to pay attention to. We kind of get a chance to kind of look at what the quarterback's doing and react to it. And he folded his hands across his chest, folded his arms across his chest, and he's just like, "I like that." He called me Deuce. He said, "I like that, Deuce. I think you're on the right track." He said, "I hear you. I hear you." I said, "I'm just going to walk out from here." And he said, "I appreciate it." And sure enough, the next practice, he was dialing up the blitzes and things like that. But, that's why that meeting was important for DJ and those guys. Hopefully we're going to see a different kind of DJ and a different scheme, and the way he schemes up DJ and how he attacks the defense with him. And so I think that was super important, probably for Caleb too. So I appreciate everybody responding in here. Mayhem, Derek Carter. I wouldn't call him I ain't gonna call the man no names, man. But apparently Zaire Franklin wasn't feeling it. So I'm just gonna say that. Lou Lachey. Nope. Everybody agrees. All right, I'm reading some more comments, man. Daryl Gibson says, "What's the bigger picture of all this? I think Waldron doesn't like the quarterback." I'm definitely not getting that. Daryl. I'm not getting that at all. I think, like I told you guys on the last show, I think they're in the exploratory phase, trying to figure out what's working and what doesn't work. And I think that's every good offense starts there, finding out what's working and what doesn't work. It don't come right out of the box put together. And you constantly putting the pieces on, seeing if something works. You might have to take something loose and try another screw or bolt or whatever. But they're putting it together. Let me see. Scottish Bear says Flus should be instructing his coaches to communicate with the players and hold them accountable. And listen, I can imagine what it is for Shane Waldron coming into a team with all these pieces and rookie quarterback and just trying not to rub nobody the wrong way. He's just trying to play it safe. And it was good. I think it was really good that they got him in a room and was able to settle his spirit a little bit and tell him, tell just coach us, man. Just, get this stuff right. We all got to win. Just coach us. And we're going to be whatever you're doing, man, we're going to support you. Just know, man, you ain't got to be walking on eggshells. And that's kind of what sounds like it came out of that. Let me see. Richard Long says, acquiring Tuesday talented players means nothing if you're not skilled enough to devise a scheme to utilize them. Amen. Amen to that. Milton Chisholm says, give Caleb a few plays and let them call their own. I bet you Caleb would take that. I bet you all my money. Let me see. Joseph Archer is saying, I blame this talk on the Bears organization. It seems to be that the Bears like to pick coaches who have no coaching experience. We've got coaching experience, head coaching experience. Flus is, man, he's making me question him, man, and I don't like doing it. I'm telling you the truth, Joseph. I hate being that way. Let me see. Daryl Gibson saying, Waldron doesn't trust Caleb Williams under center and on the goal line. He just didn't say it. He's not. Caleb isn't his most comfortable under center, man. It's just not where he's played most of his football. That's just understandable. Can he get comfortable under center? Yeah. Just got to keep repping him under there. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Minister Charles. Man, everybody hit the like button, man. Please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, any of you guys in here that are new and just here for your first time, hit the subscribe button for us, man. We would greatly appreciate it. All right. Let me see. Kenny's saying something. Kenny says it baffles me that Flus worked his whole life to become an NFL head coach just to act like a passive individual. You know what, fellas, man, to be frank with you guys, to be frank as I can be, I don't like some of the stuff I'm seeing recently. And, some of the stuff that I'm really bitchy and complaining about is game management. See, to me, I think if you're that sketchy in game management, that means your job as a head coach is to be really, really good there and give your players every opportunity and not take opportunities from them. And as a head coach, you need to be able to provide them that. They work their asses off all week, putting their bodies up to shame just to make sure that they're ready to perform Sunday. They give you all they have. At least you can do is put them in a position to win the game. And I don't think he's done that for a couple of weeks. He's had flashes of that since he's been here. Game management, time management of the the challenge flag, all that kind of stuff, managing your timeouts. It's been very, very questionable. And you can't get your team primed and up to A level readiness, and then you fucking let them down as a coach. To me, in my opinion, it's time for that guy to pass that play call sheet to the defensive coordinator they brought in. Let him do that job, and you just manage the game. To me, that's the answer to it all. Let Eric Washington call the game on defense, and you just manage everything. You can't get nothing but better if you just focus on what you need to do. Kind of keep your fucking nose out of that and trust the guys you hired. Anybody agree with that or disagree? Let me know. Read some comments. Reading some comments. Richard Long said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's working, don't break it. Yeah. Hey, Scottish Bear hears me. Game management and conviction. Flus is lacking. Ah, man. I'm reading a lot of stuff in here. This is piss poor coaching, man. Hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anybody doing no crying. I'm just being critical when we can be, man. We need to be able to come in here and have these conversations. We need to be able to come in here and have these conversations openly and be okay with it and not get mad and pissy about it, man. Nothing wrong with being critical. I still support Matt Eberflus. I'm going to support him while he's there. To me, he's done a lot more good than some of the criticisms I have for him right now. The structure of the team, the fact that these guys don't get in trouble in the off season. That's a man. That's huge. That's huge. The fact that these guys don't complain. You don't have a bunch of people crying and coming to the podium every week and complaining about what's going on inside the building. That's a good damn thing. He's an above average defensive coordinator, below average head coach when it comes to game management. Is that fair or not? That's all I'm saying. Read a couple more comments. He's saying, Daryl Gibson is saying, this is precisely why we didn't want a rookie quarterback in this situation, along with the media scrutiny nationally, is just too much. We saw JF1 go through this bullshit with no talent. True. Can't argue with none of that. Can't argue with none of that. What up, T. Collins? Left hand, what's up, man? We read Bad Truth 9 statement. He's always got some good takes. What appears to me is the players on how they got on the team can win, and they can see that Waldron wasn't able to steer the ship and wasn't prepared for the current situations. Lewis said, we got dudes. It's just about how you use them, Bad Truth. And obviously, they're not calling that meeting with him unless they had something to tell him, like, hey, dog, we got the dogs. You just got to apply us, man. You got the dogs, just apply us. Put the right game plan on the field, and we can take care of anything you got for us. I think that's what it was about. And checking out Gypsy Mike, Williams should have sat a year and learned how to play from the pocket. He'd have learned a lot from Beijing. It's a lot of people saying that right now, man. What's good, left hand? But let me see here. Oh, we coming up on. I was only prepared to do an hour, but I'll stay here and talk to you guys for a little bit. Ain't nothing else going on. It's Friday night, and I'm glad to have you guys here with me to talk. Kenny said, Flus grew a beard, but didn't grow no balls. I'm with you, Charles. That's my vibe, Minister. Read Minister Charles' comment right here. I guarantee that Waldron is working under restraints. I got a feeling that Flus is heavy-handed and he's micromanaging. I think he's heavy-handed and he's micromanaging. I feel the exact same way, Minister Charles. Why he's doing that, it's probably I would imagine if I was a head coach, I would want to be in every room too and make sure that everybody understands what we want. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I need to get it out of there for the majority of what they do and just trust them. You know, when they go put something out on the field that I don't really agree with, you turn on your headset and say, hey man, that play, that's not working for me. We got to talk about that later. Or, you know, can we get something else instead of this? I don't like throwing all this horizontal stuff for DJ. You know, I don't think it's getting blocked up the right way. I think we need to throw that shit under the bus, man. Let's not do that. You know, that kind of stuff a head coach should be doing. Yeah, it definitely fits a pattern. That fan doesn't agree. Let me see. Left hand says, if that was so, how would they not know what he wants in the game? I mean, their job is to scheme up the plan. All he had to do is say, man, we got to try to stay 60-40 pass run. That's pretty much all he needs to do. If we can get, I like that counter trap with Khalil Herbert, man. That looked good all week in practice, man. Make sure we get that in there. Shit like that, you know, you should go in there and tell your offensive coordinator if there was specific stuff that you wanted to see. But you can't keep going in there and say, hey, man, we need to run the ball on this down when the offensive coordinator is seeing in his head and his vision is telling him, I like the rhythm what we have throwing the ball. I don't want to run it here. Caleb is in a good rhythm. I want to throw this one. And then you got the coach getting on the headset like, we need to run this one. That's the kind of shit that I'm talking. That's what really goes on out there. Lula Shea, yes. But to tell the truth, he did that all last year as well. Micromanagement is what he's doing. Micro maximum. All right, man. Listen, man. I got to get ready to get out of here because my girlfriend is getting off early. And I just wanted to make sure you guys got some content. And I promise you guys, I'm going to start doing more of this. And just talking to you guys, just coming out here, enjoying each other, man, and giving you guys content. And when we got breaking news, I'm going to jump out here and do podcasts when I'm available. But, man, this is a good time. I'm going to read a couple more comments before we get out of here. Kenny says, not one defensive coach is calling for a speed pitch out in the red zone. Well, he shouldn't. I don't know who called that. I think Shane's got to own that one. Fluid 2212 Flocka. I don't know what he's saying. He's saying this is nothing but sour grapes. How can you take one person's side of the story as facts? Dude, this just discourse, man. We just having a dialogue, man. And we just have an opinion. I felt like having a podcast to talk about, and that's what I did, damn it. But here we go. No, he's not. Left hand said, but isn't he responsible for the game being balanced? You go in there and let the coach know, your coordinator know, hey, man, we just whatever you're doing, just make sure we got 60-40. We're trying to get 50-50, but if we don't get there, that's fine. But you know what I mean? Just make sure we commit to the run. But you can't tell him when to scheme up, when to do something. He's the coordinator. He coordinates that shit. He knows what to do with that. If he was the offensive coordinator, he'd be fucking doing it, talking about Flus. Stay out of there and let that man call his plays. That's how I feel about it. But yeah. It's you know, like I said, man, I think everybody's opinion on how much Flus should be involved in this is probably all over the spectrum, to be honest with you, man. Nobody really I know everybody ain't gonna agree with how I feel about the whole situation and the fact that I'm listening to what Zaire Franklin has to say about Coach Flus. You know, you don't have to, but I do take his word for it. I have no reason not to. You know, so I believe the guy. I think he had some valid points to make about his old coach, and you know, whether people think it's sour grapes or not, you know, give or take it. But thank you, Terry. I appreciate you, man. But that's going to be it for the show, man. I got to get ready to wrap this up. My girlfriend's getting off early, and it's about that time. But before I leave, before we get out of here, let me make sure you guys, all the people that are affected by Hurricane Helene down in Florida, down in Georgia, let me see, Tennessee is really getting it bad right now with the flooding. Everybody that's affected by that in one way or the other, man, good vibes and speedy recovery to all those people affected by that, because I don't think that thing's done with them. And I think it's still, you know, causing havoc in different parts of the southern part of the United States, man. And so, man, it's rough out there for people living down there in that area, man. And I believe I'm one of those people that believes it just gets rougher from here, you know, because weather patterns are real and they're changing, you know. So that being said, I just wanted to make sure you guys say I love you guys and I appreciate you guys for being here and being patient with me, but being by myself and trying to run the podcast, share the screen, and get comments up. Appreciate you guys for being patient with me, but it was fun to me. I'm going to do way more of this, man, and we're going to reimagine what Nomad Life can be. But thank you guys one more time. But before I leave you guys, I got to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it and you can see it, you can damn sure manifest it. You just in your own way, and you got to learn how to get the hell on out of there. But with that being said, I am out.